We found each other in this huge world and we're crazy about each other, you know? And we now have this family that's, you know, we've gotten to experience in our 40s. And he's got 2 little girls, so it's a big life for him now. And I'm just so glad to have met my...
Keith Urban speaks out about his split from Nicole Kidman, what actually transpired, their hidden struggles, and the truth about their 19-year marriage. Think about this. In front of thousands, Keith Urban, the country music icon who once sang about forever, takes the stage. However, a few weeks after divorcing Nicole Kidman, he finally opens up about life on tour in a pre-recorded interview. He is depressed, lonely, and misses his friends more than his family. Keith wakes up at 3 in the morning on a tour bus, exhausted, ill, and alone, according to the documents that have been provided. It was a fairy tale romance that the world believed in, with 2 daughters and 19 years of marriage. But in the midst of endless highways and red carpets, their love story softly fell apart. Additionally, fans realized that something was irrevocably and profoundly damaged when Keith called their marriage a job on live television. This isn't just another breakup in Hollywood. This is how a survival-based love story that was put to the test by addiction and ultimately defeated by distance falls apart. Observe further. The Good Day USA Gala, one of those glitzy Hollywood meets Australia gatherings where celebrities network and act like they're not in love, was where it all started in 2005. Additionally, based on the documents presented, the Oscar-winning actress Nicole Kidman was still recovering from a highly publicized divorce. The affable country music icon Keith Urban was modest but captivating. Everyone around them sensed a spark as they met, smiled, and conversed. The twist, though, is this. There was no call from Keith. No, not for weeks or days. For 4 months, Nicole believed he was simply uninterested. He was genuinely afraid, according to the documents, of destroying something that seemed too good to be true. Everything changed the moment he summoned the courage to call her. They had become inseparable in 2006, and that June they were married in Sydney beneath a sky filled with whispers and candles. The scene was not a Hollywood production. It was quiet, private, and tragically romantic, the report said. Lace Keith and Nicole were crying, and he was holding her hand as if he would never let go. Globally, fans referred to them as the real-life country love story, and it looked great for a while. This is where things become complicated. 4 months after that amazing wedding in Sydney, the honeymoon glow began to wane. The documents state that Nicole Kidman started to notice something was wrong. Keith Urban appeared aloof, different. The reality soon slammed in. Keith was battling substance misuse. It was not a rumor from a tabloid, it was real. Additionally, the report claims that Nicole was taken by surprise. Most people would have left, but Nicole stayed. She chose to stand up for him. She did something that most wives could never dream of doing just months after saying "I do" one evening in front of her loved ones. She staged an intervention, according to the documents. Just brutal, painful honesty without any cameras, PR spin, or script. She implored him to seek assistance. He listened. To his credit, he went to rehab and started the difficult road to recovery. They spent 3 arduous months apart. Upon his eventual release from treatment, Keith reportedly told the cameras that it was the most difficult yet rewarding experience of his life. From red carpet romance to survival mode, that moment compelled their marriage to change. Everyone believed that they were stronger, closer, and different after it. Most people overlook this section. When their first daughter, Sunday Rose, was born in 2008, everything changed after the storm passed. She described her as a miracle and a gift, according to the document. Flying halfway across the world between tours to get to an ultrasound, Keith was there every step of the way. The birth of Sunday softened their world. 2 years later, in 2010, Faith Margaret, who was born through surrogacy, joined their family once more. In Nashville, far from the flash, they established a life where their daughters could grow up listening to music while wearing muddy boots. The outside world, they appeared to have succeeded, overcame distance, doubt, and addiction. But there's always another twist to life. The untimely death of Nicole's father, Dr. Anthony Kidman, in 2014 was tragic. According to the report, she was deeply affected by the loss, and Keith was there again. He canceled his tour and all of his obligations and took a plane directly to Sydney. He stood in front of the mourners, guitar in hand, and sang Amazing Grace, according to the documents. When he looked at Nicole, it wasn't like a star. His eyes glistened, his voice cracked. It was as though he loved her despite his grief. The saying went, "That's what real love looks like." They continued to be the blueprint for years. One time, Keith remarked, "She's my safe place." He was dubbed Nicole's soulmate. The most romantic tales, however, don't always have a dramatic conclusion. They quietly disappear behind closed doors. Everything you thought you knew could be flipped by one detail. The cracks behind the curtain were becoming more difficult to conceal by 2024. The documents indicate a slowdown in red carpet appearances. She was traveling throughout Europe to shoot back-to-back projects. He was making a solo tour. The change was picked up by fans. Then the murmurs began. In Nashville, Keith allegedly established a different location close to their family's house. It was only for work, according to some. According to others, he stayed there when things became tense. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, Nicole reportedly said quietly, "You think you know where your life is going, and then it isn't." When they heard that, fans froze. The interviews that followed said things that words could never. When questioned on the Amanda Keller show about whether he thought fate had brought them together, based on the documents presented, he paused long enough for everyone to experience the awkward silence before muttering, "No idea." His fidgeting caused the internet to light up as he changed the topic. The man who used to declare, "I'm madly in love," was no more. Then Ryan Searist. Ryan was asking, "How do you keep the marriage strong after all these years?" Keith reportedly grinned, but it wasn't the same smile. "So it's a job," he said. 3 words, but they have the impact of a confession. However, this is what no one is discussing. According to related reports, Nicole Kidman filed for divorce in Nashville on September 30th, ending their 19-year marriage. Their most recent group photo was taken in early September. Fans couldn't help but notice the odd stiffness in his smile and poise. At a follow-up interview, Keith was questioned about his personal life, and the documents show that he did not deny or defend anything. He simply grinned and remarked, "Life's in session." In other words, he has accepted it, he is going on. It's even louder when Nicole doesn't say anything. She last spoke in public about Keith months ago, according to the report, when she said, "He's my deep, deep love." Now, those words seem like a farewell she didn't know she was saying. Once sharing everything, the couple is now saying very little to say a lot. This is the point at which heartbreak and money collide. Keith's new competition reality show, The Road, makes its debut per the sources cited in the documents. On October 19, Keith was brutally honest about touring in the first episode recorded prior to his well-publicized split. He's quoted in the linked report as saying that traveling is a lonely and depressing experience. He stated, in the words of the Daily Mail article cited in the records, "When you wake up on a tour bus at 3:30 in the early hours and you're sick as a dog, you're in the middle of nowhere and you've got to play your 5th concert later that night and you haven't slept and you miss your companions and you're missing your family and you're completely lonely and miserable and sick, and you say to yourself, why am I doing this? The only explanation is that this is what I was born to do," he continued. Here's the detail that caused a stir, though. He reportedly stated that he misses his friends and family in that order, not his family first. First friends, then family. It's not exactly clear that Nicole was the most talked about topic, according to commenters. The plot becomes more complex. Rumors concerning Keith's 25-year-old guitarist Maggie Baugh at his concert in Chicago on September 25th have been circulating, according to reports cited in the document. According to the linked article, Keith performed the song The Fighter, which was inspired by Kidman, with Baugh altering the lyrics. According to reports, the original line became, "When they're trying to get to you, Maggie, I'll be your guitar player," instead of "When they're trying to get to you, baby, I'll be the fighter." Documents show that shortly after the divorce was announced, BA wrote, "Announcement coming soon," in a black square on Instagram. The linked report explains that the lyrics of her new song, which she later released as a teaser, are about fighting off one's emotions. According to one insider, Nicole was taken by surprise when they broke up. According to the Daily Mail article cited in the documents, Nicole is rising rather than collapsing. She talked about being broken but learning to heal in her Harper's Bazaar interview, saying, "There's always a way through, no matter how painful or devastating something is." Peace, her daughters, and life away from the spotlight are her main priorities. She walked hand in hand with her girls during Paris Fashion Week, composed, grounded, and unfazed. Keith doesn't say anything in the meantime. No defense, no denial, just silent acceptance. Fans are conflicted. It's referred to as guilt by some and maturity by others. Online arguments went wild. Was he apologizing or was he showing respect? Because Keith and Nicole inspired people to believe in eternity for almost 20 years, and now it feels a little broken, that forever. Sometimes betrayal is not the end of love. Silence falls at the end. Let me know if you believe his silence was a sign of closure or a confession he will never make aloud. Please share your thoughts in the comments section and remember to subscribe, as we will be revealing another heartwarming Hollywood romance tomorrow.